Adam Gorney, it's been a crazy national signing day. We're not sure if you if you were aware of what was going on. I know you were busy doing a lot of coach interviews over there, but we had all types of news. Number one on the agenda right now, Peyton Bowen committed to Oregon, hasn't sent in his letter, and all of a sudden it's shaping up like is this a dramatic situation that's unfolding behind the scenes? What are you hearing?
Yeah, this is kind of going down as one of those all-time stories. We don't really know all the details yet, but we do know that Oregon has not received any letter of intent. There's some behind-the-scenes discussion that there's sort of a disagreement of whether he should send it in or whether people should mellow out and then make the decision later on. It's very interesting because everybody was talking about if he was going to flip from Notre Dame, it was going to be Oklahoma. It didn't look like the Sooners had much of a real shot here. It was either Notre Dame or Oregon. If he goes to Oregon, he is, wherever he goes, he's a phenomenal safety, big time playmaker. And hopefully this gets rectified soon because this is going down in the same annals of Landon Collins' mother being very upset about his decision to go to Alabama LSU. But really, we don't want it to get to the Alex Collins world of the mother running out of the place with the NLI in her hand. So we'll see how this plays out. It's a little bit unfortunate because Peyton Bowen's such a good player, and this should be the day for him to celebrate his decision. So we'll see how it goes from here.
It's always crazy when someone announces and then they don't send it in right away, and you're wondering. And we have to sit here and wonder over and over again: Did we get Francis Maui Noah's letter in? It was supposed to be 4 Eastern. It's 5 Eastern now. I don't know if we've seen it come across the wire, but this is what happens, Gorney. This is technology issues. Gotta get these letters in. So if you're an Oregon fan, you're worried. You're officially worried now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super happy because he chose my school, and it felt like they were running third. But yeah, I'm worried now. So it'll at some point we'll have a determination here. If I'm an Oregon fan, I want that to be done and figured out as soon as humanly possible. If I'm a Notre Dame fan, let's have it play out a little longer. Let's get on the phone with some coaches. Let's see what's going on here. And if I'm Oklahoma, I might drive down to Denton and rip up both of them and give them one to Oklahoma and see how that turns out.
All right, we did we did get a letter in from Francis Maui Noah. So Miami fans can ease up on that one. But one guy that they didn't get today, Cormani McLean, the story of the morning. Deion Sanders in the mix, didn't get the letter. Oh, he's just filming a documentary. Well, I talked to a few people today who said, yeah, there may be some discrepancies between things that were discussed initially and things that were discussed today. What are you hearing?
Yeah. So I talked to Hakeem Williams. I traded some messages with him. And, Hakeem Williams also heard from Deion Sanders today. Deion's been very active, reaching out to players that he wants to flip. And, good for him. We'll see how that plays out. He's not going to get Hakeem Williams. He signed with Florida State, longtime Florida State commit. Cormani is interesting. He was committed to Miami, remains committed to Miami. But even when he made that choice, it was a little surprising. A lot of people thought Florida. A lot of people thought Alabama was going to get back in it. There were rumors that he was going to take a late visit to Alabama. That never panned out. And then Deion swoops in, and he decides not to sign. So 16 hours ago this morning, his mother said, we're ready to go. Money's ready to sign. McLean to Miami. Everything was all set up and good to go. Something happened overnight there. I don't know who was calling who, and I don't know who was communicating with who. But this morning, the Lakeland coaches, the ones that I talked to, they were all set. I had talked to one coach that was pulling into the parking lot. I said, what's going on? He said, what are you talking about? They didn't even know. The table was set up for McLean to sign with Miami and to have it over with. That does not look like that's the case. So if I'm Miami, I'm very concerned here. I'm going to see what happened to the communication overnight to see what's going on. But would I be shocked to see Cormani McLean pick Colorado? I think he had a family connection to BYU. He's been to that area before, and it's Deion. I mean, it's basically the reason Travis Hunter picked Jackson State last year, is he said he wanted to be coached by the best. Well, Deion Sanders is still one of the best cornerbacks to ever play the game, and now he's going after Cormani McLean.
Yeah, for people watching, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments, and we'll ask Gorney while we have him here for a couple more minutes. Who you got next, Gorney, on the coach interviews?
Yeah, the coming up is Mike Loxley from Maryland, Greg Schiano from Rutgers, Kyle Whittingham from Utah, wrapping up the day with Troy Taylor from Stanford. So it's been very, very busy. I think we're well over 20. It's really been sort of my whole day here, when I can sneak in a sandwich or call my 5-year-old daughter Anna to say hello. That's happened. But other than that, it's been coach wall to wall.
Oh, it must be nice. I've been locked in here in my garage. But,
Like that's anything different.
I mean, listen, at least you got free M&Ms over there. I did not have those today. I've been lacking sustenance down here. It's also like 30 degrees. I'm so cold sitting in this garage. I did not take that into account when I decided to move it down here.
Right.
In terms of the biggest win, the biggest thing that we got wrapped up today, who would you kind of give the award to right now? Would it be Oregon getting Mateo? Is it Georgia getting Damon Wilson? Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's Oregon just because, last night they flipped Austin Novosad from Baylor, and he was a long time Baylor commit. So that was not easy. They got their quarterback. They lost Dante Moore, which hurts. No one will ever doubt that. But Austin Novosad's a very, very talented player. Sort of calms the nerves there a little bit. A great guy. Getting Mateo was unexpected. Last night, I had still been hearing USC, and then it started to change. And so there were some text messages thrown around from some of the coaches that were all involved in this. I know some of his family wanted him closer even at USC, but Oregon was always a school that kind of stuck out to him as well. And so they went out there. If they can keep Peyton Bowen, that's huge because that was unexpected. That is one that would be huge. I also think Georgia did a great job, keeping Bo Hughley, getting Wilson, which was expected, but still huge to get him in. Getting Kyron Jones, NC State running back commit, kind of overlooked, but a very talented kid. Daniel Harris, and then Alabama. There was so much talk about Tony Mitchell flipping to either Auburn or Texas A&M. He always had this sort of weird fascination with Texas A&M, but he sticks with Alabama. And then Quay Rousseau and James Smith, who, there was some talk about Auburn really late. Could they sneak in and get him? Even Florida was kind of hyping up Rousseau a little bit. So we saw they stuck with Alabama. So I think those three schools right now are the ones that are standing out most.
Yeah, not a lot of talk about Alabama, but we go look at the team rankings and they're number one. I mean, is their class not getting enough attention? Because I don't feel like we were really talking about all these big names that they have on board now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They stuck at number one. They've been there. Georgia has been competing with them for that number one spot over the years, but it looks now like Alabama has a healthy lead in the team total rankings. It's going to be tough to catch them. 3 5-stars. They close with 3 5-stars, 22 4-stars, which by my math, as I look down the list, is more in both categories. So that's more than any other team in both categories. They had a phenomenal finish. Keon Keeley comes on board about a week ago. He had, they held Ohio State off. Then Caden Proctor, a longtime Iowa commit. You're here in Oregon. He took a visit there. Colorado tried to get involved, takes that late visit there and gets them locked in. They kept both running backs, Richard Young and Justice Haynes. I think that was huge. Justice Haynes was being pursued heavily by Georgia late, but he shut it down and got those guys. And then Rousseau is definitely someone who I think at the All-Star games, we're going to have a discussion about a 5-star ranking. Ionze Pierre is a very interesting kid who had a huge senior season. It's a very, very good class from top to bottom, especially on defense. And Nick Saban needed defensive linemen in this class. And we talked about this before. He lost Peter Woods. He lost Kelby Collins. But he's loaded up again, and it's a phenomenal job by him down the stretch.
Now, the one thing before we wrap up, Deion Sanders seemed like we thought they'd be getting a lot of big names today, and they didn't really get the big splash, so much so that we saw Shedeur Sanders announced his commitment later in the day. I think Kind of rushed that one out there. A little bit needs some PR because they didn't really flip any of these big names we thought they might steal.
No, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, last year he did at Jackson State. He got the #1 player in the country, and good for him. A lot of credit to him. We'll see. It looks like Travis Hunter could certainly join him again at Colorado. We've talked about this. I think Georgia's in there. Some talk about Miami. I think Georgia would be the biggest competitor. And that's the thing. Deion can't just go for the grand slam home run every time. He now needs to build a roster. He needs, this is a team that he's taking over that was 1-11 this past season. They got blown out in every game, pretty much. They just don't need one guy, two guys. Getting Dylan Edwards is a very big pickup, but you need a whole flank of wide receivers. You need an offensive and defensive line to compete in the Pac-12. And so going after Hakeem Williams late is nice. Going after, all these guys late is fine. But you're going to strike out on a lot of them, and you need to build a roster here. He's probably going to have to do that through the portal now, but that's still a lot of guys that he's going to have to convince to come to Colorado with him.
Yeah, not an easy fix. And like you said, I mean, we're seeing some of their guys from their roster go to places like Kansas State, Boise State, Florida State. I mean, those are legitimate programs that are in better shape than Colorado. So you kind of hate to be losing players like that right out of the gate. So I know you got some other interviews to do, Gorney, so we'll let you go here right when the audience is starting to build up. Good time to cut the broadcast off.
Leave them wanting for more, Woody.
Yeah. All right. Well, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. You got tons of interviews there from Adam Gorney and Clint Cosgrove with coaches from around the country. And, of course, analysis and reaction to all the news. And you can go to Rivals.com. Gorney's winners and losers will be up tonight. I have a feeling Notre Dame going to be on the old losers list. A tough day for the Irish. What do you think, Gorney? Are they going to be on? Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's a spoiler alert. I'm putting them on the list right now because you said that. But, winners and losers will be up tonight. Gorney Awards tomorrow morning. The fun never ends. And then Desmond Ricks and Jordan Hall tomorrow. So we still have a few commitments to go. My winners, Alabama, Georgia. A&M got a lot of guys late. Oregon, great. Losers, come see them later.
All right. Thanks, Gorney.
Okay.